barrels on the table from AT3 Tactical, Jag Composites Handguards, and a couple sleek, lightweight flavors, and Strike Industries T-Bone charging handle on today's Gear Grind. We introduced some new AT3 barrels a while back, and we've got a whole bunch of new lengths and calibers to show off, along with some .22 long rifle goodness. Fit. All these new AT3 barrels are for the AR-15 platform, no surprises here. Pop this into a standard upper, add a handguard and a gas system if you need it. We have a couple new 22 LR barrels as well as 9mm, which use blowback actions, so those don't use gas blocks or tubes. But both those categories use 1/2x28 threads as well, which means they're primed for suppressor compatibility. We've also got some shorter lengths in 300 blackout 9mm and a 7.62x39 barrel using 5/8x24 threads. By the way, the 22 long rifle barrels are dedicated, which means they need a dedicated 22 LR bolt carrier, which we have right here. And we have some pretty good success using Black Dog magazines as well as CMMG mags to feed our builds. The vast majority of these shorter or the lightweight pencil profile barrels are going to handle better, won't be as front heavy as your heavier full length barrels or government profile. But that comes with the territory. It's all about trade-offs when it comes down to it. Pick the parts that are right for your build, whether you want something slick and light or heavier so you can use a suppressor more effectively, for example. Form. Now I know these are AT3 branded products, so I don't want to toot our own horn too loudly, but I think the finish on all of these look great, especially if you look at some other budget-friendly brands out there. You can definitely pay less for a barrel, but you might have some significant issues with fit and finish. These, on the other hand, are really clean, well machined, and the bores look solid coming off the line. And the black nitride finish will help ensure that these have great corrosion resistance. Function. There's a lot out here on the table, and I haven't got to test absolutely every one, but these barrels are solid performers, including the new 22 LR stuff, which I think is the biggest win from this fresh batch. Shooting 22 like this with an autoloader is bound to have a few failures now and then. Weak shells, dirty ammo, it's what happens when you're trying to train or plink on the cheap. But when you combine these dedicated parts with a reliable 22 magazine, we ended up having some great results. So I hope you give these a try. Features. No big mystery here. We're a company made up of AR builders and tinkerers, and it can be an expensive hobby, even before factoring in ammo, which is killer right now. But these barrels will allow you to build a custom rifle the way you want it, whether you want a 22 plinker, 13.9 pin and weld build, or anything else you can dream up at a relatively low price. All right, that's enough shilling for the AT3 brand, I know. Let's talk about Jag Composites with their SFH and Ultralight handguards. Yeah, more carbon fiber, I know. Fit. These handguards fit on your standard AR-15s, and they come with their own steel barrel nut. A while back, I gave a rundown of their Big Bertha handguard, which is made for Aero Precision's enhanced uppers. These are much thinner and work on standard uppers. And it's really interesting the way they do it too. Included with every handguard comes your nut and hardware, plus this tool specifically for timing your barrel nut alignment with the screws. Now, because this is a pretty slim fit, be mindful that you might not be able to use any accessories directly above your gas block and tube. Other than that, no real issues. Feel. Obviously, this is stupid light, and it's thin too, on level with basically any modern, slim, free-float M-LOK handguard out there in terms of diameter, which translates to a really comfortable grip. A bit slick, typical for carbon fiber, but that can be remedied with grip tape or foregrip. The other nice thing is how this handguard isn't perfectly round. It's more of an oval shape thanks to this little bit of bracing at the back of the handguard. Ends up feeling more natural in the hand, more like your typical aluminum free float. Carbon fiber looks dope. I've said it once, I've said it a million times, but let's talk about why this might appeal to you beyond that. There are no lightning cuts on these handguards, just M-LOK slots at your 12, 3, 6, and 9. Titanium machine screws hold it all in place, which ends up giving the handguard a really clean profile next to your upper. So you get a great look without being too flashy. A lot of the design philosophy here is purpose driven, which if you're spending $300 on a handguard, better do what you need it to. Speaking of, function. Like pretty much any carbon fiber handguard, it takes significantly longer to saturate this guy with heat compared to aluminum. That means more comfortable shooting for longer. As far as the M-LOK slots are concerned, no real issues from my experience. Just make sure you use some thread lock and appropriate torque for any accessories you need to stay zeroed. One small thing, if you're a C-clamp shooter, you may want to invest in a rail wrap or gloves because the gas block and tube are very close to the top of this handguard. Don't want to get burned. Features. I mentioned earlier that there are two different models of this handguard on the table. That's the SFH, this is the Ultralight. Same barrel nut, same hardware, so what's the difference? The answer is the weave of carbon fiber. The 15-inch SFH is still stupid light, 6.25 ounces altogether, but that's almost a couple ounces heavier than the Ultralight. That one is going to be maybe not as robust overall, but it's engineered to be about 40% lighter than your average carbon fiber handguard. And since these shake out around the same price for their different lengths, you just choose the one that's right for you. We've got barrels, we've got handguards. Let's talk something that's a bit easier to drop in. I've got the Strike Industries T-Bone charging handle on the table with some interesting features. Fit. Like everything else today, the T-Bone slots into your standard AR-15 upper without an issue. But there's a really cool feature on this charging handle when it comes to the latches. You can actually swap the latches for larger and smaller ones called the Porterhouse and Tenderloin, respectively, which I think is cute. I think the industry needs more of that. And since this is an ambidextrous handle, you can actually configure it exactly the way you want for your strong and support side charges. Out of the box, the T-Bone feels pretty okay. I'm no stranger to polymer latches on my charging handles, but there is something a bit different about this one. For one, this has no hinge or traditional springs. The part of the latch that actually clips to your receiver is polymer, not aluminum. And while this has a slightly different feeling that isn't too bad compared to other ambi handles, I can't help but cringe a bit as I let it go into battery. I wouldn't go so far as to say it feels cheap, but the reality of this charging handle is that it's going to wear out over time with those polymer parts, and you'll need to pick up some extra levers. Just a point of consideration. Form. As always with Strike, these just look really cool. The sharper angles that are molded into the levers give your rifle a pretty distinct look, and you can get these in a variety of colors: black, FDE, ODG, blue, and red. So if you've got some other pieces from Strike or even other brands, it's pretty easy to get a close match for colors and help make your build a little more drippy. I got all the way here without talking about the gas busting, which I think has a very unique approach. When you open up the box, you get a pair of set screws, which you can install into one side of the handle or the other. And these set screws actually block off gas flow that comes through the handle's length. You can open up the one side to vent gas off, or you can use both. Where this really comes in handy is suppressed fire, and is a potential eye saver if you set up your T-Bone to vent gas exclusively away from your eyes. And it definitely seems to make a difference. Features. I think this is a very unique charging handle with a lot of good things going for it. Customizable, strong gas busting features, and the price for this single ambi charging handle is very nice, about $10 cheaper than the nearest competitor. For how effective the gas busting is, maybe that's worth the price of admission. But like I said before, there is a drawback to the polymer latch. It's going to wear. But like I said before, there is a drawback to the polymer latch. It's going to wear. The replacement parts are pretty cheap, so if you end up loving this guy, you'll probably be able to live with it. It's nice getting back to some parts to get hands-on with again. I'll probably be getting some more fun picks for you guys soon. We'll have some announcements for new AT3 products in the very near future, so stay tuned for that as well.